What's up, Blade fam? So after I did my topside video, I got a little feedback from a lot of people that just have the belief that they'll never be able to do topsides because their ankles don't bend that way. Well, if you practice stretching, foam rolling, and muscle releasing techniques, perhaps you will be able to do those. So we're going to go over different techniques that I've used to strengthen my left foot. Now, I'm right foot dominated. In the last 2 years, I've been learning all these different tricks on my left foot, and that made me have to think about it. I had to approach this subject with a little different map, I guess, or ideas. And so I took it on as a personal trainer would. What does it require for me to be able to build the strength, get the flexibility and the mobility to put my ankle into those positions while performing topside tricks? So the first thing that we're going to cover is looking at muscle structure. Now, when you have tight calf muscles here, or if you have tight muscles running across your shin here, these are going to pull, and they're going to restrict the range of your ankle being able to bend and have that forward and side, specifically top side. You know, a lot of videos on YouTube cover the dorsiflexion, I think that's what it's called. Being able to do this, you know, being able to squat all the way down without your ankles or your heels coming off the ground is one indication that you have really tight muscles coming through here. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of different techniques that I found really useful to release, first off, the calf and the tibia and the fibula muscles that are attached through here. So let's get into that. All you need to do is get a broomstick or some type of stick. I just got a little aluminum broomstick here, and what you're going to do is you're going to place the broomstick all the way up into that pit of your knee, and you're going to just sit back on it. Now this is a very, for me, it's very tender, so I'm still have tender muscles or tight muscles here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hang out like this for about 20 seconds, and then I'm going to move it incrementally down, and I'm going to just sit on this. Now you're going to find that this is very painful to some, you know, like I'm not comfortable. But when I'm done doing this, I'm going to have that range of motion that I'm looking for, and I'm going to be feeling a lot looser and just feeling better in my calves. So again, you're just going to be working your way down, starting at the top, and you're going to come all the way down to where the muscle ends, right about here. And you're going to hold for 20 seconds. Each time you adjust, go for 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, and 20 seconds. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to do. And what that does is it's going to create some muscle release in the calf, some muscle release in the hams. Our next thing that we're going to be covering is, again, the rumble foam roller is my go-to when it comes to calves. And I keep going back to the calves because if your muscles are tight here, they are not going to allow your foot and ankle to have the range of motion that we need to do those topside. Okay, so now that we got our foam roller, now you can use any foam roller. Again, I have multiple foam rollers to work different muscle groups on. For me, I find that the rumbler is the best one that gets into the calf muscles compared to your standard round ones, but they still will work. So what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to get our calves on there, and we're going to begin down here. These ligaments and these tendons and these muscles, especially your Achilles, if your Achilles tendon gets tight, that is severely going to limit your mobility and your range in jumping and holding tricks and stuff. So we're going to spend a little time breaking that apart. In my other foam rolling video, I showed you guys a quick rundown of how to loosen up the calves. This one's going to be more specific. So what I do is I begin by finding those trigger points and rocking back and forth. Something that I just now have begun to incorporate is to roll the foot around. And you're going to feel different knots and different trigger points. And we're just going to be smashing those little tender areas down. We're trying to break those basically scabs that are sitting over our muscles. So when you have really good functioning muscle structure, it looks smooth and it's like this. But as you tear or as you strain and stress it, they tear and then they heal up. And when they heal up, you get these little edges on the top of the muscle fiber. So these edges is where we lose our mobility. And so what we're trying to do is knock those edges off. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'll spend about 15 minutes rolling out my entire calf, rocking back and forth. You can go side to side. And if you find, like, you know, a really good trigger point, you can apply downward pressure and just hang out on it, or you can really get creative with it, because it's a matter of you kind of like scrubbing the muscles down with your foam roller. So if you don't have a rumbler, you can use this guy and do the same thing. You know, I like to find the edge of the foam roller sometimes and rock on it like this, and you're trying to break that up. Now, if you don't have a foam roller, what can you do? You can get a racquetball, and you can kind of do the same thing. Put it down, find those little tender areas, and push down, and just get some release in there. And as you break that apart, now it will loosen up this calf, and hopefully we can now get into stretching it. If you look at what a topside is, let's say top sole. So if I'm standing in a top sole, this muscle here needs to have the mobility and flexibility for me to get into this and hold. So this is what we're after. This outside muscle is where we're going to be focusing the most on, specifically for topside. So I'll be at home sometimes and I'll just put a ball under my calf here, and I'll just hang out and watch a movie or a skate video or anything like that. Really stoked to see the new Forever video coming out by E-Rod and the Blader Gang crew. I've been working really hard on that. But you know, that's what I kind of do. I try to utilize my time, and when I'm downtime, chilling, I release my muscles, so that way the next time I'm out skating, I'm good. So again, this is what you're going to be focusing on primarily, is loosening up this outside end. After you're done doing that, if you have multiple foam rollers or just a basic foam roller, we're then going to go after the shin here. Our shins, we get hit and banged up, and that's one form of injuries that it will take. But the other thing that we get a lot of is forward flex. We do this a lot. Every time we jump, every time we're grinding, we get this. So these muscles, if you look at this contraction, this thing is contracting the knees forward. So let's focus on that. So we're gonna get right above the ankle here, and you're gonna push downwards, and you're gonna begin scrubbing that outside shin muscle all the way up like that, and you're gonna just loosen up all that crap. Now it's gonna hurt, it's gonna feel god awful. Maybe not, maybe you got a high pain tolerance, but for most of us this is kind of uncomfortable. And if you find a place where it's extra tender, rock specifically on that. You know, spend like 20 seconds only moving about 3 inches, and perform that on both sides. Again, starting at the bottom. So we're gonna get here, we're gonna roll up like that. Again, in my foam rolling video, I talked about if you don't have a foam roller, what can you use? You can go and cut a PVC pipe and just use a PVC pipe, you know, like a 4-inch PVC pipe, or you can wrap a yoga mat or some foam over a PVC pipe, and voila, you have a muscle releasing tool that didn't cost you $35. This guy here was 20 bucks over at Big Fives. It came with the racquetball. It has a PVC core. I like it. I throw this one usually in my skate bag. This little guy is a $10 one over at Whole Foods. It's good for the, I don't really use it too much. It's good for when you're on the go though and you don't really have enough room to pack a big foam roller. You can just throw that there and it still can hit the same things. For $10, you've got a different foam roller. All right, so now that we've broken up all of those scabs all over our muscles and we've loosened things up, let's get into the stretching that we can do. Now, again, what we're after is this position. So this is what we should be stretching. We should, if you're trying to learn topsides and you're serious about your inlining, this range is what you want to do. And all you're going to do is just hold it there. Maybe you're only here, but the idea is to hold for about 20 seconds and you're just working on that mobility. You know, when I do this, I'll go into different topside tricks. So maybe I know top mistrial is like my trick this year and I need to get this position stronger. So I'll hold and I'll pretend, hey, how would I stand if I was doing that topside? Or if I'm doing a top sole, now the range is different. It's more up here on the outside edge, pushing into the toes, and I'll just hold these positions, visualizing and practicing, seeing myself, how would I hold these topsides. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to doing topsides on coping and rails, that's one game. I'm a ledge junkie. That's a totally different game. And that's where specifically people are like, I can topside coping, I can topside rails, but I will never be able to topside a ledge. I found by applying these techniques on my left side that it changed really fast. I went from not being able to throw a switch top sole or any switch top trick to within 6 months getting all of my switch topsides down, including alley-oop topsides as well, just off of doing this daily. Every day after work, I would come home and I'd put on some music and I would just practice with either my skates on or off, putting this pressure on my ankle. And I mean, my right ankle, I can, you know, I've got a lot of mobility in that one, but my left isn't as much. So that's what I've been doing to get that mobility. So try those out. You can, you know, again, do the broom technique, use the foam rollers. It's really about that. You've got to loosen up those muscles. You've got 26 different bones in your feet and they're always moving around and they get kind of fixed. I'll be covering another video that will be going over releasing your feet muscles and stretching out all of those, so that way it correlates and comes back to this video and helps you getting into your topside tricks. Let me know if this is helpful for you. You know, I found that it really did help for me. I've used it with Nye and my son Philip, and both of them have been able to produce topside results in a very small amount of time. If we look at it structurally, it helps us build, rather than looking at it as if it's just a trick, which it is, but it's also the body. So you have to figure out what your body's doing in those tricks, so that way you're strong and mobile in those tricks. Give me a like or a comment. Let me know if you do anything specifically for your topsides and strengthening or anything like that. I know some people, when they see this, they're like, oh my God, that is so, why would you do that to your ankles? Well, we're rollerbladers. That's why we're doing it to our ankles, you know. And one of my favorite guys that I follow, Ido Portal, talks about training for failure. There is going to be a time where you're going to miss a trick and you might whack your foot or your ankle in the wrong way. And if you don't train for those times when it goes wrong, it's going to go really wrong. So that's why I practice stretching. That's why I practice foam rolling. And I try to think structurally of what my body's doing in those tricks so that way I can skate better. Again, I hope this you find useful. I got so many questions on topsides, and this is all I really got. This is what I've done to make my topsides better. Real quick rundown. When I'm in the gym, I do this walk. I forgot to mention it in the video, so let me just cover it real quick. And it's basically, I just walk an X grind. And I put all of that pressure on my ankle. Ooh, it's really weird in shoes and on carpet. But I do these walks where I'm trying to get that range, you know. Being able to stay in the mobility and flexibility to cover all of the range of your ankle is really important. So those are some of the things that I do. Let me know if this helps you. You know, give me some feedback. If you go out and you perform these exercises and stretching and whatnot, and the next time you skate, you lace your topside tricks, give me a like or a comment. Let me know what your feedback is and if this stuff has worked for you, or if you have anything that you've done. You know, by all means, I am still learning. Alright guys, so that sums up my flexibility, mobility, and workout, I guess, to some degree, on the ankles or the calf muscles and the things that are incorporated in doing topside tricks. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are or experiences, or if this helps you. If all of a sudden you're practicing this and boom, you go out and lock your next topside trick, hey man, give me a like. Let me know what your guys' feedback is, and as always, keep shredding. Aloha.